YNs and YNing is not at all a new phenomenon. We've traded in our swords for switches, opium for Percocet, and our cloaks for shiesties. But there's nothing new under the sun. In this video, we're going to cover some of the various young street criminals of the ancient world. Let's go. Ancient Greece. Philosophers, classic architecture, mythology. Shit, I even got a tattoo of Prometheus myself. And gangbanging. Athenian teens underwent military training sponsored by the city-state called the Ephabate. It was a 2-year military training program and crash course in how to be citizens and warriors capable of defending the city-state. At 18, these young men from elite families would be subject to physical training, military exercises, and even education in the liberal arts. These young men enrolled were called ephebus. Ephebus itself just being a general term for young man. But because Ephabate created such a strong sense of fraternity and they got some military training, some groups of ephebus started acting like they were really like that.
What the hell y'all cook for dinner?
Preston, stop talking like that!
You were raised better than that.
It wasn't uncommon to catch them shaking down merchants, threatening ops in public, or even just causing general mischief. Even the philosophers hated them. In the Republic, Plato complained about spoiled young men having too much motion, essentially. He was just hating because he couldn't smash. Aristophanes also mocked them in his plays, portraying them as shiftless drunkards. Now, me personally, I wouldn't let someone named Aristophanes talk about me like that, but that's just me, everyone's different. But whether you loved them or hated them, these young men were a real part of Greek urban life and always put on for their city-state. Now we're gonna turn it up a couple notches. Let's talk about the OG gang wolves of Rome, Publius Clodius Pulcher and Titus Anus Milo. Is this nigga named Tight Anus? Titus Aeneas Milo. But we'll just call them Clodius and Milo. These guys weren't just politicians. They ran actual street gangs. I'm talking weapons, sliding, spinning blocks, all that. We'll call Clodius's gang, Clodius gang, and Milo's gang, Milo gang. Clodius was a notorious politician and a demagogue who used his street gang of YNs to terrorize political ops, storm temples, and rig votes. Clodius beefed with Milo, who was also a politician, and one of the more well-known politicians from this era, also Milo's homie, Cicero. It's safe to say Clodius was most hated in the city. Clodius told his gang slide until Milo's block was a freaking PowerPoint presentation. Boom, so Milo hit back with his own steppers, giving Clodius gang some severe belt to ass treatment, turning the streets of Rome into a war zone. The final showdown came when Clodius got caught lacking in an ambush on Via Appia, presumably by Milo gang, and was sent to the Shadow Realm. Rome erupted into chaos, and Milo was blamed for the murder. Cicero attempted to defend Milo in court in his pro-Malone, post-Malone, home alone, don't call my phone,
Lakers in 5.
speech, but Milo was convicted and exiled. Alright, now before I get into the biggest demon, I gotta touch on the Collegia groups real quick, because they were a significant force in the Roman underground. These were, part religious group, part union, and sometimes part like straight up gang fronts. A lot of times people would use these for organized crime, and sometimes they were hired as like muscle for politicians, and they would do all kind of shady stuff in these Collegia groups. So they ended up getting banned like multiple times. It got to a point where the government made them have to like register as Collegia groups in order to be one, because it just got super out of hand. Now we're gonna talk about the big blood. Before Rome went up in blazing hellfire, one of hell's greatest spawns, the soon-to-be Emperor Nero, was out here earning his stripes in these Roman streets. In his adolescence, he would go out at night masked up, beating up ops, hitting licks, and even catching bodies, with accounts saying him and his group of youngins were out here putting people on shirts. Accounts also say he found the thug life quite humorous, showing clear signs of antisocial behavior from an early age. He was also a singer, heard he had the pipes. Now I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard he used to like pay people to like listen to him sing. If so, that's just evil. This is diabolical. Like, why would you pay? Like, how trash are you that you gotta pay people to listen to you sing? Like, that's actually crazy. Like, bro is on some Ice JJ Fish type shit. Besides his mixtape, there's no real evidence he caused the Great Fire of Rome. But he did put his stepbrother in a spliff, his own mother in a spliff, Seneca in a spliff, his wife in a spliff while she was pregnant with his kid, so that's a 2-for-1 special. And there's several other things so freaky that Diddy, Count Orlok, and Kevin Gates would have to do a fusion dance to match this nigga's freak power levels. I ain't gonna lie, the sideburn to neck beard connection is nasty work. That's how you know he has super high dark triad traits. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to urban gangs in the ancient world. That's all for now.